cat in the wall, eh? Okay, now you're talking my language.
You ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
Welcome into the View from C-Deck, rocking the Troy Smith to start out Big Ten season. I'm just Matt. It's my man, the Dyerwolf, Casey Dyer. And we're here to talk about the game that Ohio State just played, dominating the Thundering Herd of Marshall, 49-14 on Saturday. We're also going to preview our game against Michigan State. Sparty getting a visit from the Buckeyes, first road game of the year, first Big Ten game of the year. Should be much more interesting than what we've seen so far. We're going to start with Saturday in the shoe in a baking stadium, like 92 degrees. Glad I wasn't there in person. Dyer, what did you see Saturday, though, in this game where a lot of people were probably a little hesitant at the way we came out playing, and especially defensively?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I'm always glass half full optimistic, but this year I've been more critical of them because the expectations are so high.
So I've been loving it because I love that you've come to the dark side.
Yeah, so I was a little bit disappointed with the defense because I really thought, I said it in the last one, that they could theoretically have 0 touchdowns given up going into the Oregon game with the offenses that we play. And, you know, I wasn't shocked they came out slow, although it does give me concern because that first half reminded me a lot of the Akron game. So, you know, the whole off season, and you have that lull, then we have a bye, first half lull. We can't be doing that because we're going to have another bye. Nebraska's after the bye this year, I think, or in the second bye, and
it is.
They're not Marshall. I mean, they just lost the heartbreaker, but they're a legit team. And then more likely than not, we're going to have a bye before the first postseason game because we're either not going to play in the conference championship.
Well, we're guaranteed to have a bye because there's like 3 weeks before the playoff starts.
Yeah, exactly. And we could have 2 weeks between. So that made me a little bit nervous, but the offense it is exactly what I wanted to see coming into the year. They've pretty much, the offensive line, you know, it's the opponent more than anything right now, but if they were looking bad, I'd be super concerned.
Yeah. For once, we'll start with the defense. We usually start offense here all the time on the View from C-Deck, but I was kind of with you guys. I thought people were overreacting, though. We were playing a very base. I thought the game plan was bad. I didn't think they played bad. I thought the game plan was bad more than anything. We're too deep all the time. They're playing 11 personnel almost the whole game, which means one tight end, and he was on the box. Like, he was in the box. He wasn't like set out wide, and one running back. So they got 8 guys, and he's on the line of scrimmage a lot of the time. He was like just lined up like right next to the tackles. Sometimes he was offset. But we were keeping just 2 safeties deep, and I mean deep, like 12 to 15 yards deep the entire game. And I texted my other group text with my Middletown guys. I was like, Marshall should run the ball every time because they have us like we're just outnumbered in the box, especially with a running quarterback. Like, you can't. It's 6 blocking 6, and you have 2 guys that can run the ball. I don't know exactly what Knowles was doing. I have some thoughts on what, like, maybe he wanted to see if we could just defend that way. And have our safeties, who are both really good at coming up and supporting the run, fly up and stop the run. But you're still giving up, like, you know, when I read a good tweet about 3.5 yards, an outcome that both sides are happy with. Because, like you say on defense, we hit them 3.5 yards on a carry, then it's no big deal. And in offense, you're like, well, 3.5 yards, we do it 2 more times and we got first down. Yeah. So that's kind of what we were doing, it seemed like. And the quarterback, who was only completing like 44% of his passes coming into the game, he was money. Like, he just looked good. They made good catches. I think they had a lot of drops against Virginia Tech. At least that's what they were talking about during the game. So, I mean, they played better than I think we anticipated. We played softer. One thing I think we learned about the defense: we are not an elite run defense without Tyleik Williams. We are not. We need him in the middle. Everybody else we have, they're solid, but they're just guys. He's the difference maker in the middle.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, he's arguably our best defensive player, and that's saying a lot with this defense. There could be a lot of guys, but that was the main thing that disappointed me. Like, we give up plays. We don't give up huge plays, but they usually tighten up in the red zone. I was hoping they would hold the field goals, and they didn't. That second touchdown, I still don't think was a touchdown, but you couldn't overturn it. When it happened live, I was like, he's out. And then they called it, and I'm like, you got to review that. And then I saw the review, and I'm like, eesh. You can't
tell. You can't tell it.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, they completely shut them down in the second half, though.
Yeah. And they look good doing it. Good depth. We get even more into our depth because we have another bullshit targeting that, I mean, if you can't accidentally touch somebody with your face mask, then what are we doing? Just don't even wear helmets then. Two-hand touch. We'll talk more about the refs a little bit later. Offensively, though, you're right. Holy crap. Explosive out the wazoo. We're moving people on the line. The running backs, nobody can tackle either one of them. I mean, they both look like freaks of nature right now. Then we've had all three receivers take a slant or a screen to the house this year. How do you try to make our tight ends beat you? Because they can't. They stink at catching the ball. Our tight ends are not good receivers. This is what we've learned through 3 games. Other than that, I mean, hope that we try to chuck a bunch of deep balls with Will Howard and he underthrows them. What weakness do we have on offense, really? The deep ball? Is that it?
It sure seems like it, which later in the year, if teams adjust and they're like, we don't trust it, he's going to have to hit 1 or 2 eventually. But I think he
is. He? We're still getting big plays without it.
True, but we'll be seeing some good defenses coming up in the Big Ten, so we'll learn pretty quick if that's necessary. I mean, Iowa right away, pretty much after next week.
Michigan State is not bad. They're in the top 30 in like every metric.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll need it against them, the deep ball, but I think we could eventually on these runs. But my goodness, that Quinchon run is ridiculous. And then you look at the box score, and Henderson averaged the same amount of yards per carry pretty much as him. He just had like 8 less carries.
Henderson looks now. The vision still doesn't quite seem right, but he looks like an absolute freak running the football. He looks fast and strong and determined whenever he's running it. He just needs to like calm down himself. Let himself get into space, let the blocking develop a little more. And Judkins, you just can't tackle like that every which way. You grab his legs, he's slipping out of your grasp. You come up high, here comes a freaking stiff arm dropping a 240-pound linebacker to the turf. Like it's just nasty.
Stiff arms by both of them were disgusting. It was just
right. And guys, we haven't unleashed Will Howard as a runner yet. We haven't done it yet.
That's what's crazy. And it's coming. It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oregon's going to get a taste of that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Those QB wraps like we saw this. I love Chip Kelly's offense right now. Different concepts. These tunnel screens are just oh my gosh, I didn't know screens could be effective. And now they're not just effective, they're touchdown makers.
Yeah. How many? You said 3?
All 3 receivers have taken one to the house on like a slant or a screen this year.
Jeremiah has 2.
Yeah, Jeremiah's done it twice. The other 2 have done it once. Pick your poison. Good luck. Yeah, 280 yards on the ground, 9 yards through the air. Judkins with 14 for 173, the star of the game for sure. Just keep on trucking, keep on getting better, keep getting Will Howard more. Like I said, just the deep ball. And I was with who announced our game, whoever our announcer was. I was with him though.
Gus John.
Jeremiah should have made a play on the ball. Like that was bad route and a bad play by Jeremiah. He threw it up there thinking Jeremiah would go make a play, and he didn't. And something he's got to learn. Every route's important. I think he didn't think it was coming to him and didn't try as hard as he should have to start. But that's freshman mistake. He'll get past it.
I agree. Howard has said more than once, you get that guy one-on-one, you're throwing it. And I agree with him. And It backfired. I mean, it was a bad throw, but he could have at least knocked it down.
It wasn't the worst throw. It wasn't a good throw, but it wasn't the worst throw.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, now to the ugly of the game. There's 2 things that were ugly in this game, and the first one was special teams for the Buckeyes because we're kicking the ball out of bounds. We're muffing punts. Luckily, that got bailed out by some very poor alignment by Marshall. We could have taken one to the house on a punt return, and the turf monster got us, but it got Marshall a couple times too, so whatever. But the kicks out of bounds, we've been a bad special teams under Ryan Day in general. And we finally get rid of Parker Fleming. You think we've maybe solved the problem, and they rear their head. We've had bad kick returns this year now because Jaden Ballard was making bad. I finally remember what the bad decision was. He let another one bounce in play, thinking it would maybe he's played the video game too much where it always bounces in the end zone. You don't let it bounce in play. That was like the first game. And then the second game, obviously, he doesn't fair catch it, or he calls a fair catch, but he let it bounce first or something, whatever he did. Was incorrect, and we got the ball like the 5-yard line, which is why he's not returning kicks or playing at all anymore, as he was like the 7th receiver in the game. But either way, are you worried about special teams, Dyerwolf?
I am, and I mean, he can't.
Punts also bad. Punts were terrible also. The 2 punts, both bad.
Yeah, we netted like 10 yards or something on one of them because he blasted it into the end zone. The giant dude should have just skied it in the air as high as he could kick it, pretty much, and try to get basically on the 10 and go straight in the end zone. But the kickoffs, I mean, he can't kick off again, right? He's not going to be the kicker.
No.
Now, right?
I don't know. I mean, he's still our strongest leg, but I don't know why we're doing these angle kicks to begin with. Kick it out of the back of the end zone. I've been preaching this since Joe Mixon took it to the house against us in Oklahoma in 2016. Like, just kick. You're not really gaining enough.
No.
To outweigh the risk of kicking it.
Yeah.
Do it to them to do these like weird coffin corners.
No, I agree. Just kick it right down the middle.
Yeah. Kick it down the middle, kick it out of the back of the end zone. Let them start at 25 and drive 75 yards against one of the top 2-3 defenses in the country. It's not rocket science.
That's a big reason forward, too. I mean, you keep doing that. You keep giving the team the ball in the 35. I mean, eventually it's going to bite you.
They're 120-yard play away from being like in field goal range. So, yeah. Yep. The other thing that we have to talk about, the guys throwing those flags. That's some of the worst officiating, and I mean all around, I've ever seen. Now, the play, like stuff they're not calling. We always say here, there's not a conspiracy. Officials are just bad in the NCAA, especially the Big Ten. But the way they're managing the game, the way they're taking forever to get things going, or allowing, I mean, the first review, that's the what are you doing? The 3 kicks are the what are you doing of the week. But the first review on the fumble that we didn't recover, that went out of bounds, and nobody recovered, and then they reviewed it. I'm like, what are they reviewing right now? Nobody even recovered it.
Yeah, I was confused by that too.
And it took 4 minutes. Whoa.
That targeting pissed me off because it was like he like stopped himself. He like tried to. I just don't understand that rule in general, I guess, because back to the Georgia.
You'll watch people. You watch Marvin Harrison Jr. get his freaking head taken off against Georgia, and I agree that it's not a penalty. But if you're not going to – what are we trying to get out of the game? People getting their heads taken off. That's what we're trying to get out of the game. So when somebody taps you with their face mask, and that's getting you kicked out of a game, and the other guy is just blowing you up, and that's doing nothing, like not even a penalty flag. Yeah. What are we doing? What's the point? What's the point?
I was getting annoyed, and then once we started blowing them out, I think I wasn't caring as much.
Well, yeah. We also got to talk about Day getting the 15-yard penalty because he rightfully is upset that they're letting Marshall suck 20 seconds off the game clock. We have to call timeout.
Yes, and then that's what I think that was our first punt of the game. That led to the first punt. Of course, you're gonna. Oh God, yeah, that one pissed me off. And then just the muffed punt when they called the flag. It was weird. They never even said anything, did they?
It was a legal formation.
But
they said it, but it was They said it, but it just took them forever to get it like out. It took everything they called. It seems like they were unsure about it and like they didn't want to talk about it. Let's just do it, guys. Don't talk. We're in a nationally televised game.
Just give them the ball back. They're fine. It's Ohio State.
And it was a good call because they were way off the line of scrimmage. The linemen were, but
yeah, just like, oh my God.
Well, hopefully Saturday night at 7 p.m. on the cock, we don't see them as Ohio State travels to East Lansing this week now as we start to preview Michigan State. Michigan State comes in much better than we thought they were going to be. 3-1, almost 4-0. Had a tough game last week, lost by 4 at Boston College, who's also pretty good, like surprisingly good. Their defense is second in the country in sacks, I believe, 15. They've been solid. Their offense has been pretty up and down, mostly down, besides like some moments against Maryland and obviously Prairie View and A&M, but who cares about that? Aiden Childs, Mr. Take the Over, 4 touchdowns to 7 picks on the year, only completing 54% of his passes. Had over almost half of his yards of his 891 yards were against Maryland. So he's had, but that was one of the better teams they played, obviously. So, but he can run, and they run him a lot. And we just saw a quarterback who runs a lot and have some success. Only 24.5-point favorites on the road. I think it's 25 now as of this. So what are we wanting to see there, Dyerwolf, on Saturday?
I want to see the continued domination running the ball, honestly. I mean, if they can keep doing that, nothing else really matters, in my opinion. I mean, if you're dominating the way we have been, they have no chance. But you're right. I mean, I think they're top 25 in almost every defensive category there is so far. So they're definitely going to be the best defense we've played on there. When they have the ball, I'm pretty confident we'll shut them down. I think that was an eye-opener against Marshall a little bit on the quarterback run. I think you're right. They didn't really prepare completely for it as much as they could have. They know they're not going to score a bunch of points. But yeah, I want to see that O-line dominate, and hopefully Tyleek comes back. But yeah, that spread seemed a little low to me because we have in the past like 3 or 4 years just absolutely crushed Michigan State by like 40 points.
Yeah, this is a different team, but they haven't played a really good offense yet either. Like Maryland's offense is not where it was with Talia back there. BC's, they're just an okay offense. They have 23 and 24 in those games. We're a whole nother beast. So I think we can come in, but it's at night on the road. First up road game for this team as a whole, but we're experienced in a lot of ways too. Offensive line especially continuing to dominate. Josh Fryer did get beat really bad for a sack. It's the Josh Fryer problem. Is he going to be able to hold up? I mean, that guy had like 4 sacks coming into the game. Is he going to be able to hold up against elite pass rushers? Well, this is a good pass rush. Now, they're not elite. They're doing it with a lot of smoke and mirrors, but they get 15 sacks because they're aggressive. They can't be too aggressive against us, though.
No.
Like we've seen, these wide receiver screens can go to the house real easy.
And I might have to start a new trend on our betting podcast. Bet on the team that's about to play us to not cover, because I swear it happens all the time where I'm thinking, well, if Michigan State would have beat Boston College, they probably would have been ranked. Playing us, well, they lose. And then
they covered.
What'd you say?
They covered. They were like 6-point dogs.
Well, I guess lose in general. Because I think if they won that, they would have been ranked going into this week.
Maybe, but Indiana's not, and Indiana's trucked everybody they've played.
That's true. I think they get more credit than Indiana, though, at least in the media.
That's true. Indiana just handled UCLA way worse than LSU did. Doesn't have a loss. LSU does. And they're not ranked. And LSU is. That's dumb. Yeah. Defensively, so see what they can do against the running quarterback. And somebody who's not the greatest passer, but a running quarterback, that's going to be the biggest challenge. There's not a lot of skill over there, like Marsh, the receivers. He's pretty decent. He's averaging like 20 yards, like almost 20 yards a catch. Or that's pretty good. But against our DBs, I'd like to see us we should get some turnovers. Childs is throwing at least 2 picks in every game against a P5 team or against a FBS team this year. Not P5, FBS. So let's get a couple picks. Abe Nosen just got put in Mel Kiper's first round. He just mocked him in the first round now too. So we have like first rounders all over the place on defense in the secondary. Let's get some picks this week. Let's get some sacks. Let's do not be as conservative as we were. I don't know what exactly the reasoning was behind that, but hopefully we see Tyleek back too. See the depth keep coming in on defense. I've been liking how they've been rotating and just get the dominance back though. Get them back. We give 2 touchdowns. I'm not worried about it. but I don't want to see it again.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be great to get another touchdown because first game we had 2 defensive touchdowns, and then I don't know if we've had a turnover since, have we? Since the first game? We didn't have a turnover in the last game.
No, I don't think. No, we have not.
So we need to get one, and I don't know if you're going to special teams, but that's really what I want to see. No more freaking kicks out of bounds. Just get it together or muffed.
Just don't suck special teams, and I'll be happy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Ennis will get one this year. I do. I think he'll get one. Okay. So the line's 24.5, over under 49.5. I've gone cover and over every game, and I'm 3-3. Over hits last week. We've just barely missed, and that miss. I'll tell you more about that pick off here. About a parlay I had. We don't need to talk about here though. So what do you got this week though, Dyerwolf?
I think we cover and hit the under, just because their defense is solid. I don't think they're going to score many points, but I can see it being, I don't know, 35-10. That barely covered.
Only 35 for us.
Yeah, I think it's going to be by far our worst offensive performance. We're going to be on the road at night. That pass rush concerns me a little bit because what was the biggest question mark coming into this year is the offensive line. They got, hopefully they don't have big heads, but they're looking great so far. So hopefully they don't get punched in the face. But I'm thinking it might be a slow start for us.
Could be a slow start, but we've had some starts, and I thought Akron actually played really well on defense, and we still scored 52. I worry a little bit about their pass rush, but this is where Will comes in, and he's hard to sack. Like, he really is, and he can be just as frustrating. And with how dangerous we are, if you blitz and you run past our running backs, they're in the secondary, and good luck with that. Good luck trying to tackle those two when they're back there. Or we hit the screen passes on these tunnel screens, and Jeremiah Smith or Ibuka or Cardinal Tate are off to the races. Good luck with that too. Like, I feel like you can't be too aggressive against us. You have to win with your front four. I don't know if they can do that. I'm going to go over and cover again. I don't know if it's going to be, and I think they'll score. I think they'll get one score on us. So I'm thinking like, man, that 49.5 is a good one because I think I'm like 42-7, but I'll say 45-7 when we get a field goal to get Fielding's confidence back up after all those kickoffs.
Yeah.
All right, but like I always ask you every week at the end of these podcasts, did last week, and I know you're going to tell me in totality, did last week make you more or less confident in the Buckeyes as national championship contenders?
Oh, I'd actually say it pretty much stayed level. I can't say worse because that offense just, good Lord, it's been a while since I've been that pumped up about an offense on our team, probably since 19 really as a whole, running and passing the ball. But the Big Ten in general all looked better this week, pretty much across the board. Michigan, unfortunately, actually looked legitimate. I don't know if that's because USC just sucks and they don't understand that they're going to run the ball 90% of the time.
They listened to Michigan finally listened to me and did exactly what I said they should do before the season.
Just run it every play. They can't stop.
Run it every single play and play good defense.
Yep. And even the lower level Big Ten teams, I mean, Rutgers keeps winning. Indiana looks good. We don't play Rutgers, but that Nebraska-Illinois game was great. I mean, Illinois might be fighting for a playoff spot, really. I haven't looked at their schedule real close, but if they have a cake schedule, I know they don't play us.
They play at Penn State this weekend.
Yeah, and they're huge underdogs. Fine, but yeah, overall, I'd say it's about neutral because I felt a little bit better about us, but then the Big Ten as a whole doesn't seem as easy. No,
it doesn't. I'll just say because of the special teams, and I'm not worried about the kickoffs that much. I mean, I think that was an anomaly. You got the yips and whatever, and we can put somebody else and they can kick it through the end zone. But the punting, we play a Georgia, we play a Bama, teams that can actually get some stops against us. Then it comes into play, and you could totally blame the loss against Michigan on punting last year. They just controlled the field position because they punted well and we punted poorly in that game. Yeah. So it could come down to something like that. Like, makes me a little more worried. But nothing over, like nothing huge. And like you said, if we keep running the ball the way we are, we're winning national championship.
Yeah. Period.
Period. All right, but for the Dyerwolf, I'm just Matt. Please like, subscribe. Our last preview got, well, we'll have to talk about that off the air too. It was like almost 600 views. Now it's back under 500. I don't know how this works. But like, subscribe, ring that bell so you get all the notifications. Comment and tell us why we're going to blow Michigan State's doors off and F these Oregon State transplants coming in there. But we will see you guys next time.
Hey guys! Oh, big gulps, huh? All right. Well, see you later.
A rich man's world. I have turned the soul of this beautiful land, but that